tonight is for the conduct of town business by the town board. The public is invited to participate at the items marked on the agenda, public comment. During that segment of the meeting, if you have a question or comment for the supervisor, please raise your hand and wait to be acknowledged. Please state your full name and limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Thank you for your anticipated cooperation.
Thank you, Colleen. I'd like to start the meeting off with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. First of all, we're continuing with the public hearing on the land lease agreement. This is the lease agreement for Tarpon Towers, and it's a lease agreement for them to build a tower at 1650, which is the highway department. So anybody here for talking about Tarpon Springs? James, come on up.
Just like to say that I've been before town boards before, saying that I am in favor of improvements to the cell network. I continue to be in favor of that. I am also very much a fan of the planning board because of their comprehensive attention to putting stuff on the website. And therein I have a few questions dealing with the resolutions. Resolution 53, item II, says, an application submitted by Tarpon Towers 2 LLC seeking approvals for such wireless telecommunications facility, which application included a full EAF. In resolution number 54, the exact same item says, which application included a short EAF. Furthermore, on the bottom, the second to the bottom, whereas the town of Marlborough Town Board has caused the completion of the short environmental assessment form. Now, I did find the short form on the website, part 1. Part 2 is normally filled out by the lead agency. The portion that was there, which was, I guess, under review by the engineer, that portion was not filled out. Now, it could be somewhere else on your website is the long form, maybe somewhere else is the part 2 of the short form, but I didn't see those.
Part 2 of the short form
has been filled out. Okay, I hope you can put that on the website.
Absolutely.
And if this type of action requires a long form also, I hope that you will put that on the website, as well as putting the construction documents up there also, just for historical purposes, so people can see exactly what's going on. But I'm not sure if there is a problem between those two, one saying the long form, one saying, the full EAF, and the other saying the short EAF. If that's an error, or if actually you need the full EAF for this type of action.
Short form is sufficient.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. We'll put all the data on the website once the resolutions are passed by the board. So this way everybody knows. Actually, James, we've been putting all the pertinent material for this project on the website, showing the area that the tower will cover, which will improve the west side of Marlborough. So all that stuff is good. Thank you, James. So without further ado, is anybody else here for the tower? Mr. Walters.
I just have a question, I guess. How much are we going to get per month, per year for leasing this? And number two is someone has indicated, and it doesn't affect me, I don't believe, that people living close to this tower could have interference from the tower concerning other electronic devices they might be using. And has that been looked into? And again, I don't have any feeling for it, but people don't like to come to these meetings and ask these questions, so they ask me.
So I would suggest the people that ask you to come to these meetings, but that being said, the engineer was here and the individual that's going to build the tower was here and asked most of those questions. The income per year is a little over $18,000. It also comes with a $10,000 bonus signature by the supervisor. Also comes with, if they co-mingle, every opportunity that besides Verizon, if there's AT&T or anybody else, the town will also receive $350,000 a month for each one of those individuals that go on that tower. $350 per month for each one of those co-mingling AT&T. Did I say $350?
I would say it.
350,000, I said? Yeah. Wow. That'd be good. I'm thinking in the thousands. I see Ralph and I see dollar signs anyhow. So, yeah. So that's, and as far as I don't think that is correct. I don't believe that anybody by the latest one that we put up on the water tower has complained about any kind of interference.
It was just a comment that was made to me.
Understand.
It was made at the meeting, too, I think somebody brought it up. Somebody brought it up at the last meeting, too.
Yeah. Understand.
And it's a 10-year lease, 20-year lease?
It's a, I believe it's a 20-year lease. It goes in increments of 5 years. And a 2% per year increase. Anybody else? Okay, I need a motion to close the public hearing on the land lease agreement.
I make that motion.
I need a second. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Okay.
Hopefully.
So I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I make the motion to approve the agenda.
I need a second, Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So moved. Motion to approve minutes from the April 22nd, 2019 Town Board meeting.
And I will second it.
All in favor? So moved. Authorized payments of bills in the amount of $179,928.62. I need a motion to pay the bills.
And I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None being said, pay the bills. Any comments on the agenda? Mark?
I had a question on Resolution 49, which is the tax certiorari case.
Yeah.
The question I have is that in looking up both your documents you sent as well as the county, it's a three-bedroom ranch house, 1,500 square feet, and I think the town is going to settle on an assessment of the 60, I'm sorry, is it 70,000 or 60,000? 60. So my question would be, on page 2 of the information necessary to determine the value, it just checks off determination of any building improvement located on the property. It says town has inspected the property. What did they find out that would warrant dropping the assessment down to that?
Well, that was a good concern with most of the board members also, until they were notified by the assessor that there's actually walls caving down on this piece of property, and there's a stream running through it. So, yeah, we cut it in
The
half.
walls of the building?
Yeah,
Oh,
the
okay.
foundation, everything was in disarray. So,
Because he bought it at tax, I think he bought it at tax auction.
well, whatever he bought it,
For
that's
12,000,
yeah.
right.
So that's the reason. The house was in pretty bad shape. So we, like the assessor said, we wish we would have known, but we didn't know, and they went through the process and got their assessment cut.
Okay.
And the reason was that because, and then the assessor also agreed because we found out that the place was in pretty bad shambles,
Right, okay, thanks.
and it warrant being cut. Of course, we were wondering too, gee, you know, you're going to cut it in half. What's going on here? And then we were notified that the place was in pretty bad shape. Any presentations tonight? None being said. Let's move to report of departments. And here we go. What? Yeah, I got it right here. Okay, bear with me. I have a little cold here. Supervisory report for May 2019. Attended a New York State DOT workshop in Sugarloaf on towns with state highway for Main Street. Met with Adam Grenick about doing a film in Marlborough. Participated along with Councilman Corcoran and the town staff in town Easter egg hunt at Sports Dome in Milton. It was very well attended, and I'd like to thank the Pizzas for donating the dome in that beautiful space. Also Tina Rosa and Scott for doing all the work, and everybody involved. It was very successful. Went to Kingston to attend a governor's signing event to ban single-use plastic bags. Attended a meeting of Tomback Rehabilitation Committee along with Councilman Baker and Councilman Corcoran. Met with Matt Mayhem and Highway Department Supervisor Alonji to discuss sidewalks on Du Bois Street. Attended the Founders Day celebration at the Sarah Hollick Library in Milton. Very well attended. I talked about the bridges in the Hudson Valley. Went to the Spring Fling at the Buttermilk Falls to raise money for Milton beautification. Met with Mickey Jamal and Scott Parker to discuss Chestnut Petroleum Project and timing of Phase 1 sewer extension. Met with Jim and Chip Kent to discuss Milton Main Street. Attended Marlborough Middle School Health Fair. Met with Michelle Hook, representative from the Scammer Project. Met with the Historic Trails Committee members and Councilman Baker at the Falcon. Met with Newburgh Town Supervisor Piquato to discuss Dan Scammer Project. Met with Jerry Wine and Councilman Baker to discuss South Pier Presentation Project. Met with Chief Kokoza and Scott Woolsey, Mobile Life, to discuss emergency response. Went to Mid-Hudson Region Economic Development Council meeting on CFA grants with Marlborough residents and Councilman Baker. That was Jerry Wine and Rosemary Wine, and also Judy Clark. met with Milton Train Station Foundation to discuss drainage improvement for parking. And that's respectfully submitted down to the supervisor. Thomas?
Building Department Monthly Report, April 2019. Certificate of Occupancy, 6. Request for Information, 12. Trailer Park Renewals, 5. Building Extensions, 10. Fire Inspections, 8. Fire Calls, 1. Stop Work Orders, 1. Order to Remedy, 16. Complaints, 37. Clothing Bin Renewals, 3. Building Permits, Addition Renovations, 5. Barns, 1. Blasting, 1. Decks, 7. Electrical, 3. Furnaces, 1. Hot tubs, pools, 1. Roof, 2. Shed, 1. Signs, 1. Single family, 2. Solar panels, 3. Tank installation removals, 3. And wood pellet stoves, 1. For an estimated cost of buildings, $911,495. Monthly receipts, certificate of occupancy, 1,000. Permit extensions, 1840. Building permits, $9,761. Request for information, 1,200. Fire inspection, 605. Trailer park renewals, 2125, for a total fee of $19,261.70. Total miles, 1456. 90 gallons of gas usage.
Any questions for Tom? None being said. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it. Chief?
Monthly report for the month of April 2019. Personal injury auto accidents 4, fatal 0, property damage accidents 10, accidents not requiring a report 7, for a total of 21 for the month. Summonses issued vehicle and traffic 52, parking violations 5, complaint activity blotter entries 282, total arrests for 20, telephone calls handled 1,718 calls. Overtime for the full-time dispatchers, 11 hours. Part-time dispatchers, 48 hours. Police mileage, 11,298 miles with a fuel consumption of 983.454 gallons.
Any questions for the chief?
Thank you.
Thank you, chief. We can skip it.
No, it
Comes right now.
Yeah.
They're not in order, Howard. Not mine. Yeah.
Mine's the other way.
Alan, would you do that?
Yeah, I can read it. Highway Department report, monthly report for April 2019. Is that the right one? Yeah. We flail mowing roadsides throughout the month. We repaired lawns damaged by winter plowing operations. We started sweeping all streets and will continue this all month. We also swept out all gutters throughout the township. We hauled 35 loads of rubble from BK Construction, future Dunkin' Donuts site, to the train station. Screened it and stockpiled it for future use. We rebuilt a catch basin on Main Street, Milton. We replaced 40 feet of driveway pipe on Breezy Heights and a 60-foot by 12-inch PVC pipe on Breezy Heights, Conte Terrace. We removed 2 large maples on the West Street by the library and ground up the stumps. We replaced 110 feet of galvanized CMP with 12-inch PVC plastic on Old Post Road. We did extensive tree trimming on Mount Zion. We continue to do the cold patch the roads throughout the month. Brush and weeds, we cut and chipped all the brush on the hillside by the train station. We cut and chipped 4 trees down in Briarwood Lane. On April 25th, we had 2 men attend the Cornell Local Roads Program in Ulster County on asphalt paving principles. The landfill, we excavated the dirt in the storage barn, leveled it and compacted it, and then put in 3/4 inch stone in preparation to pouring a new concrete floor. Fuel use, gas 378.689 gallons, diesel 1,087.628 gallons. Respectfully submitted, Gail Appler, Senior.
Thank you, Alan.
Yep.
Charles?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Monthly report for April. Water consumption total 14.3 million gallons, which is a daily usage of 510,000 gallons a day. Compared to last month, which was 14.246 million gallons, which is a daily usage of 491,000 gallons a day. Compared to a year ago, our water consumption was 14.1 million gallons for the month, which is a daily usage of 470,000 per day. The summary for the month, we started and finished flushing hydrants. Total time was 10 days. We moved 2 hydrants on West Street with the help of the highway for a future sidewalk project. Curb boxes, we had to repair curb boxes and valves on South Road. Valves, we had to repair 3 valve boxes on Riverview Drive. Town Park, we opened the bathrooms at the park. We also assisted the highway in repairing catch basin between Round Pond and Long Pond. Sewer, we had to repair the manhole covers in front of 1290 Route 9W because of plow damage. Closings, we had 5, markouts 35, gallons of gas, 270, mileage for the month, 1750.
Any questions for Mr. Majera?
What was going on on Church Street this morning?
Church Street. We, once a year, we do maintenance on our pressure reducing pits, and that was the one. It's along the ridge
Did the bus
there.
get around you? Because it was waiting there when I was there.
I don't know, I was down in there.
They had the bus couldn't get around the...
I was doing the maintenance down on, underneath. Wasn't looking at the traffic.
Okay.
Anything else for Charlie? Thank you, Charlie. Colleen?
Town Clerk Monthly Report for April 2019. Burn permits, 1 for $25. Conservation, 15 for $28.18. Dog licenses, 31 for a total of $190. Water services, 1 for $200. Transfer station permits, 3 for $90. Punch cards, 26 for $945. Marriage licenses, 3 for $52.50. Building department fees, 1 for $11,456.50. Fire fees, 1 for $385. Zumba, 1 for $400. Accident reports, 15 for $75. Certified copies, 6 for $230. Clerk fees, which are the filming costs, $200. Dog warden fees, 1 for $190. FOIA requests, 5 for $18.75. Junkyard licenses, 5 for $1,250. Minor sales, 2 for $20. Park fees, 5 for $1,800. Sewer fees, 1 for $200, for a grand total of $17,755.93.
Any questions for Colleen? Thank you, Colleen.
You're welcome.
Great job. This is the wastewater treatment facility. A report on the Marlborough wastewater treatment plant for April 2019. The average flow meter reading to the plant was 118,000 gallons per day. Design capacity is 175,000 gallons per day. We use 67% of capacity. The process is meeting all the speedies requirements. Lab results show that we removed 98% of BOD and 98% of suspended solids during the month. Milton wastewater treatment plant. The average flow to the Milton plant during April 2019 was 29,000 gallons per day. This is about 53% of design capacity, 55 gallons per day. We showed 99% of BOD and 95% of TSSO removal. The process is working well, meeting speedy requirements. Overall, both wastewater treatment plants are in good working order, but getting old. We're familiar with that sentence. If you need any additional information, please do not hesitate to contact me, and that's Julian Falco. Okay, thank you, Julian. We have the dog warden's report. And this is by Andrew McKee. Overview, we received a total of 19 calls this month, including 8 calls to service from Marlborough PD, State Police, or Ulster County Sheriff. responded to 5 active complaints and/or cases which are now closed or resolved. We currently have 3 open cases that has been addressed but is ongoing or unresolved. We impounded 2 stray dogs this month. Both dogs were redeemed by their owner. We issued 2 appearance tickets citing numerous counts of town code and agriculture and market violations. We currently have no dogs in the kennel. We had 0 dog bites, which is good. We have no dangerous dog complaints under investigation at this time. Thank you, Andrew. So, while I have something also here from Andrew I'd like to read. So we keep on saying this. Basically, what Andrew is saying in this letter, it's hard to go after somebody that has a complaint if they haven't given their name. In other words, concerned citizen doesn't work. If you have a complaint about somebody, me and Tom Corcoran, we get these complaints once a month from a but somebody that's aggravated about different conditions in the town of Marlborough, and we really can't act upon it because we need somebody to come in exactly in writing or appear in front of the supervisor saying, we have a complaint with our neighbor and this is what we think has happened. And then we could ask the chief or the building inspector to go see what the problem is. And so, we did get a complaint about some dogs on 33 Grand Street. And I called Andrew up, and this was his response. All of our citizens have the right to peaceful enjoyment of their property. Our United States Constitution and local laws are designed to preserve these rights. A person accused of a crime or town code violation, in this case, has protection of the United States Constitution. They are, as we know, innocent until proven guilty. The source of the initial complaint must remain a discoverable source through the Freedom of Information Act, with the exception of felony crimes, child welfare, and national security. For this reason, I'm not legally permitted to approach or engage the alleged persecutor of this town code. So, unless you send a letter or you come and see either myself or Mr. Corcoran or the chief, we can't act unless somebody comes. We can't go on the fact that it's a responsible citizen or a concerned citizen. So just that little giddy up. It wasn't you who complained.
No, 3 blocks away. I'd give you my name. There's a lot of people that got it up there last week. Turn something backward. You hear it? Right here.
Yeah. Squeeze back.
Is it too loud?
Yes,
There you go.
it's way too loud.
Hello?
That's
Hello?
better.
Hello?
Much better.
It didn't go as high when you come in, you know? How are you? No problem. So we're at the assessor's report. We prepared 9 property tax estimates. We filed our tentative assessment roll on May 1st, 2019, or all change of assessment notices were mailed out on May 1st, 2019. The Board of Assessment Review will be meeting on Tuesday, May 28, 2019, between the hours of 10 a.m., 12 p.m., 1 to 4, And 6 to 8, grievance day appointments are being held by appointment only, and we are scheduling the appointments up to Friday, May 24th, 2019. Thank you, Cindy. Howard, you want to take care of planning?
Planning Board review, April 2019. First meeting, April 1st. Approval of stenographic minutes for 3/4/2019. Approval for the above minutes was granted unanimously. Attendees at this meeting were Chris Brand, Manny Cauchi, Steve Clark, Cindy Lanzetta, Joe LaFaro, Ben Trapani, Joel Troncalli. First item on the agenda was Milton Turnpike Solar Farm, 132 Milton Turnpike, public hearing site plan. The project seeker negative declaration and notice of determination of non-significance and approval of a special permit site plan were all approved unanimously. Second item on the agenda, Rhodes, Michael, and Josephine, 557 Route 4455 Marlborough, sketch site plan. The applicant's representative presented revised plans to build a 36 by 40 building on site in addition to the existing building. A new or modified DEC permit will be required. New York State DOT interest details, site development details, and the source of graded material and/or status of its removal should all be indicated on the plans. The Planning Board voted unanimously to issue a notice of intent for lead agency for the project. The third item was Brooklyn Bottling, 9 Riverview Drive, Marlborough, sketch site plan. Applicant appeared to present plans for the construction of a large addition to their facility at the above address. Several technical issues need to be addressed, including a stormwater pollution prevention plan, detailed parking areas for trailers on site, proposed sewer, water, drainage and utility lines, accessible parking locations, paving, lighting, directional signage, and comments from the jurisdictional fire department. The applicant will reappear at the next meeting. Next deadline is Friday, April 5th. Next scheduled meeting, Monday, April 15th. Next item, meeting April 15th, 2019 at the Town Hall. Approval of stenographic minutes for 3/18/2019 were granted unanimously. Board member Cindy Lanzetta accrued 2 hours of professional development for attending main streets and state highways with the New York State DOT. Attendees, Joel Troncalli, acting chair, Manny Cauchi, Steve Clark, Cindy Lanzetta, Joe LaFaro, Ben Trapani, Joel Troncalli. First item on the agenda was Brooklyn Bottling again. The applicant reappeared to have a planning board consider sending the project application to the Ulster County Planning Board for review in order to expedite the approval process. However, there are still several remaining outstanding issues which need to be addressed. The board did agree to allow town engineer Pat Hines to review a revised application to determine if it is ready for Ulster County Planning Board submission if completed before their next meeting date. Second item was the proposed cell phone tower on town property. At the request of the town engineer Pat Hines, the planning board discussed and approved the town board to act as lead agency to review a proposed cell phone tower on property owned by the town of Marlborough. Reminder, a joint meeting with the Ulster County Planning Board will be a group workshop training session with representatives from the Ulster County Board on May 30th, 2019 at 6:30 p.m. at the town hall for members of all boards. Next deadline, April 19th. Next scheduled meeting, Monday, May 5th. Respectfully submitted, Chris Brand, Chairman, Town of Marlborough Planning Board. That's it.
That's it.
Sticking to it. That's enough.
Thank you, Howard.
You're welcome.
Okay. Getting back to the agenda. Report of committees, Recreation Committee. I have not heard anything. No?
Everything's been going good there, right? We've
Yeah,
been getting our rent.
Yeah, we got our rent the other day.
That's good.
It was in the lockbox.
Yep.
So
Right now, that's good.
Never be open.
everything is working good.
Yep.
So, yeah, how about Bocce's open?
How many teams?
We're up to 19 teams now. We only have one more spot left that we could possibly.
Times 10 per team.
There's at least 12 on our roster. So when are they putting up our gutters?
Oh, jeez.
No. We already got a price.
You read my mind.
I know you. We do. I got the guy, Spicanardi or something, he got me a price. So
Okay.
it's gonna get approved by all the captains to spend the money, that's all.
Okay.
That'd be good. I know.
Thank you.
It's great.
Emergency Management Preparedness Committee, Al?
Nothing new to report.
The CAC, I know Howard had a few comments on the design guidelines for 9W Quarter. Have you guys looked at it or had time to look at it? If you have any comments or anything, we'd like to move on that. We're actually going to have Dennis Doyle and the county come down and do a workshop meeting with the ZBA, Town Board, and the Planning Board, and we'll be discussing that too. So after that, probably wrap it up and see what we can do. IT Committee, I haven't heard too much, have you, Scott? Pretty quiet?
Been quiet.
Milton Train Station Foundation. I just met with the board, a special meeting to go over the drainage engineering. Everybody seemed to be pleased with the pavers and the engineering. Basically had a little over $6,000 left over from the member item from Senator Larkin on the train station. So I asked the DASNY and the state to, if I could proceed with engineering for the pavers, and Lord and behold, 3 weeks later, I thought it was a pretty easy question, but it takes time, I guess. They say I could, so that's what I'm doing. We're paying for the engineering, and the foundation is going to move forward with the actual paving, the pavers, and all that work. Milton Landing Citizens Committee.
Nothing new since the last meeting, really, to report.
Okay. Marlborough Hamlet Economic Development Committee. Howard?
Really just two things, and mostly you mentioned that prior, Alan, your report. The Trail Subcommittee reconvened last week, and we need to get going again on the project to contact all the owners along the trail and come up with a process for doing that. That was part of the grant we got from Greenway to do that. So we're kind of starting up again after the committee hadn't met for a while. Part of that is to ask for an extension on the grant, which we officially are doing. I think I sent you a letter to send out to them now. And then we got a lot of good information from Carl Beard from the National Park Service several months ago. We need to go through that material again and come sift through it and decide which parts of it we can use to develop this public outreach plan. And the other part of this, and that's mostly related to what we call the Marlborough Mills Waterfalls Walkway around the Falcon going down to the river. The other part of it is the 30-acre piece of property we have. I call it the Christian Hill property east of the St. Mary's Cemetery, and we want to try to do some work there. And Al's reaching out to Carl Beard also. I think you're spearheading that one, Al. So those are the two things we're talking about right now.
Thank you, Howard. Mm-hmm. Meet Me in Marlborough?
Meet Me in Marlborough. As you said, Judy Clark did attend the information session about the CFA process. I think they want to go after some money to improve their marketing capabilities. And I think Judy's going to go to a follow-up workshop tomorrow to get more information about the CFA process in general. I believe what we're trying to work on with Meet Me in Marlborough is have someone from that group come here and report at our meetings. I know we've tried this in the past. We're going to try it one more time. So I've been talking to Judy about that. I actually spoke to her today about that. So that's about all I know.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Hammond and Milton Association Committee?
Just from what they said at the spring fling, they gave the dates for the pop party and should be kicking off pretty soon.
As soon as the rain stops.
Yeah, we don't have to water them this year. They'll water themselves.
Exactly. Rot.
Howard, the transfer station?
Transfer station, really two things we're still working on. It's taking longer than it should. I understand that. Tire removal, we want to do that. We will do it. We're waiting for a word back from this Ulster County Sheriff's Office. Al and I spoke to him the other night at a function, and he's working on getting us some able-bodied people to help us remove those tires. The second item is brush removal and chipping up the brush. I'm talking to Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency about that in concert with Gail, and we'll get that done too. It just takes time to do this stuff.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Old business, plans for Tom Vac with our engineer Phil Bell Engineering. Scott, you'd like to talk about that last meeting?
Phil owes us these plans by our next meeting. So in theory, hopefully next meeting, we should get these. I want to get with Phil before that, and maybe myself and yourself.
Yes.
And Al, if he wants to come and go over the plans, and then we want to present to the board our final recommendation with those plans. So he's on the timeline to get us these by next meeting. So
Okay.
that's the plan where we're at right now. You had the article. Thanks, Mark, for writing the article. So I think people saw it out there. So it's kind of based on what was in that article is what we're going to present.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. That was a great article. Very fair. Design standards, we talked about that. Route 9W corridor overlay district, LWRP, we're still moving on that. Water district improvement, no word from Charlie on what we're going to do there. Metal building at transfer station. Well, I think it was in Mr. Appler's report that they're preparing that to be have concrete, so they put 3/4 stone, tamped it down, and ready to go as soon as the weather breaks.
It's supposed to be tomorrow, but
They were going to pour it tomorrow?
he's going to try tomorrow, but it's just the air temperature, the moisture in the air is too much.
And so I have in front of me, and I don't know if Tina copied this to you, the 284 highway agreement from Gail. It states a whole bunch of roads. General repair, the sum of $150,000 shall be set aside to be expanded for basic work and general maintenance. Permanent improvements, we'll put this on the web also. On the highway known as Hudson Terrace, commencing at Church Street and leading to Anna Place, a distance of 0.43 miles, consisting of the following work: milling, repaving. On the highway known as Bloom Street, commencing at Route 9W and leading to Hudson Terrace, a distance of 0.28 miles, consisting of the following work: milling and repaving. On the highway known as Grand Street, commencing at Western Avenue and leading to Route 9W, a distance of 0.49 miles, consisting of the following work: milling and repaving. On the highway known as Sherman Drive, commencement at Milton Turnpike and leading to the end, a distance of 0.31 miles, consisting of the following work: reclamation and repaving. On the highway known as Peach Lane, commencing at Mahoney Road and leading to Milton Turnpike, a distance of 0.91 miles, consisting of the following work: reclamation, repaving. On the highway known as, is that Corton Terrace? It's hard to read it. Commencing at Highland Avenue and leading to Breezy Heights, a distance, I don't know, a distance of 0.10 miles, consisting of the following work: repaving and reclamation. So before any such work is undertaken, the superintendent of highways shall inform the supervisor of the proposed work in order for the supervisor to ascertain that the proposed work complies with the laws of New York and of any rules and regulation relating thereto. Okay.
Sign away.
So I signed, Councilman. You got a pen? Yep. So new business bond resolution. So taking in consideration from our last discussion about the pier, I would ask permission from the board to get in touch with with legal to get a bond resolution in front of the board for $1.2 million for the South Pier reconstruction. So I need a motion if you are in favor of that.
I would make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. So in front of you also, we had a proposal from Dave Pulliam for guide wire anchor Cluett Chance Memorial Park. What is the board's feelings on that? I think it was $900, and then if he ran into some rock, it became more expensive.
Make a motion to approve the bill as submitted.
Thank you, Mr. Corcoran, Councilman Corcoran. Thank you, Councilman Malinelli. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So move. May 27th meeting, date change. I think that's Memorial Day. So do we do it usually on Memorial Day and get the recorder, or do we postpone it to Tuesday?
Tuesday. It should work out good because I think that's the week that he has court in the afternoon.
Should we find that out first?
Well, he had court in the afternoon today, so it's every other week, right?
Or we can
I think we usually
can go
do
upstairs.
Tuesday.
huh?
We can go
You can go
upstairs.
upstairs.
So we want to change that, Colleen,
Yeah,
to Tuesday
28th.
and let everybody know. So we're moving right along to correspondence.
Before that, should we take A off there since we just signed the agreement?
We should take. You want to make a motion on that?
Motion to remove 284 highway agreement from new business?
Need a second? All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you, Ed. So I'll let Mr. Corcoran read this one. This is from Celeste Ricciardone, which was on the committee for the TOMVAC.
Celeste, yep. So this was from Celeste. She couldn't make our last meeting. Some of you that were at our meeting, you already heard this letter, but she wanted to address the committee and Howard and myself. And she says, "To all, I'm so sorry that I could not make the meeting tonight, but I would like to take this opportunity to thank the committee and the community for allowing me to serve on the Tomback Revitalization Project. The meetings were always informative and productive, and I felt that my time was well spent listening to the varied opinions about the best way to refurbish a valuable meeting space. All our members were committed to producing a functional, well-designed space that Marlborough residents would be proud to use at an affordable price. I was always impressed with the level of expertise displayed and the willingness to pursue other avenues when we needed help. I know that we will eventually end up with a building that is personally intended to the use of many family functions and civic get-togethers. Please feel free to contact me in the future to continue work on this worthwhile project. Sincerely, Celeste Ricciardone."
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate
Thanks to them. Thanks to all the committee members.
it. Yeah. Colleen, correspondence from the Boy Scouts of America that's been cleared?
Yes, yeah, I have it in the book.
Pack 73? Okay. So we would need a motion for a waiver of the $300 residential fee for the Boy Scouts, Pack 73.
I'll make the motion.
I need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Yep.
So moved. Mr. Appler wants to inform us that Anthony Primavera is our summer intern at the rate of $15 an hour. Welcome aboard, Anthony. We discussed the proposal from Mr. Pulliam, so we're good. Thank you, gentlemen. Public comment. Public comment. Anybody for public comment?
Last month's meeting, there was quite a bit of discussion centering around the possibility of needing a bond resolution for bonding one, two, or many projects. And I know Councilman Corcoran was concerned that once a bond resolution is adopted, it is subject to a permissive referendum. And if the voters or the taxpayers come in with a petition, then you have to have a special vote. And he was concerned that the cost could be some $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 to have a special vote. I did a little bit of research pertaining to a special vote, but considering village law, because I'm more familiar with village law than town law. And I found out that in village law, a special election can be held as a paper ballot. You don't need to get voting machines. And I would suggest that you contact, since you are going to contact bond people about a bond resolution that you just passed, ask them if it came down to a special referendum on a bond resolution, can it be done on paper? And I believe you can do it for probably under a few $100s, meaning a ream of paper and some maybe other local costs, but I don't think it would be an expense of several $1,000s. So I think it would be a way to circumvent if a petition is brought forward. And again, I only researched village law. I don't know if town law would allow it. That's why I'm recommending that you contact bonding.
Doesn't, when the bond resolution is adopted and we go out for the stop, when we do all the right things, right? And if people do come in and the permissible referendum becomes a referendum, since this is an odd year, wouldn't it go up in November at no cost?
It all depends time-wise. Again, bonding has to tell you, if you did a bond resolution at the next meeting, the 30 days starts as soon as you publish it. And in that 30 days, and I believe there's a stipulated time, how long after the petition is submitted, that you must hold that special referendum. Again, contact bond attorneys, ask them what town law says on it. I can't tell you what town law is. I can only know what I found out in village law.
I know that the Board of Elections, I think it's 30 to 60 days prior before they'll put it on the ballot, so it's
Right.
it's time sensitive.
But also, it's a time limit from the time the petition is submitted to when you put it on a ballot. So it's all regulated. I'm sure you'll find out. But
30-day permissive referendum wait, and then if it does get petitioned, then you have to get it on a ballot between 45 and 60 days.
yeah, something like that.
So it's 90 days. You know, the best thing would be that when you talk to the bond resolution is work out the timing. So if it does go to that, it can get on that election without any kind of
But
extra type of
again,
vote.
the only point that I'm making is that if you want to pass a bond resolution and it is in that stipulated time, you might be able to use a paper ballot, and it's very easy to count yes and no votes.
Okay, thank you, Ralph.
All right. Now, I have one other comment. Has nothing to do with voting. Last summer, in using the park for the senior citizen picnic, I had the need of using both ovens, and when I opened them up, found that there were 2 shelves in one oven and no shelves in the other oven. I talked to Tom Schroeder, and he could not understand why there weren't 2 shelves in both ovens. My suggestion is, and I know I'm going to need it this summer, both ovens again, I'm sure 2 additional shelves would be a very minimal cost. And can we get those 2 shelves ordered and in place? And if you have a problem, I believe I know a restaurant supply that might be able to help us.
We probably first we should look for them because they should be around. Secondly, we still have the old stove. So if those shelves fit, we could put those shelves in.
If they fit, fine, but they should be 2 shelves in both ovens.
And they just got clean, so.
Yeah, you'll love it. We just spent
Just totally got clean.
$750 cleaning everything, all the grease off the walls, off the oven. Looks beautiful.
That was the town board went down and did that last Saturday?
Yeah, they all did
Oh, that was good, and you didn't charge the town, so,
that. We,
Charlie took care.
we're all set.
We got it.
That was another ordeal. Thank you. Anybody else? Public? Yes, come on up. State your name, please.
Hi, I'm Ellen Mann from Sands Avenue in Milton, and we on Sands Avenue and Church Street have a terrific water and drainage problem. I have spoken with Gail Appler and the Highway Department in the past, and nothing's been done. This winter, Sands Avenue was loaded with ice, which they had to scrape off and dumped on my property, broke off a tree. I think something needs to be done. We're all running sump pumps all the time, and it's become a swamp.
Right, I believe I talked to you too about this situation.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to Gail. I'll talk to him again tomorrow. We'll take a ride up there and see what he can do. I can't promise anything, but I'll definitely talk to him again.
Okay, years ago, there was a ditch on the edge of the road. However, the road's been widened and raised, so there's no longer a ditch. And the only thing I could see I could do would just be to raise my property so that the water was no longer.
You're right on the corner of
Right.
Church and Sands, right?
Mhm.
On the east side.
Yes, yeah. And the water from up the street drains out of a culvert onto my land, and there's no ditch going from there down. So,
We'll talk to him tomorrow.
okay, thank you.
Al, before we go to, unless anybody has a little more comment.
Yes.
I forgot two things, and I wanted to bring up, I wanted to show something, but it's on that computer. I can't show it. I want to show the park.
Layout?
I want to show for Matt. I want to show what he did for the park, and I also have a few things that the park needs. I went and took some pictures. There's a lot of disrepair that has to be fixed, and I want to get board approval. So is it possible if I could just steal that quick? I'm sorry. If you want to start resolutions while I'm getting it
No,
going,
we can wait.
because it'll take me a
We'll
little
go
bit to
on
get
pretty
it up. But, and while I'm talking too, we did start our Facebook page, and that's something I wanted to show too, is it's kind of interesting, because when you start a Facebook page for a town or a business, you actually get a lot of information on who's looking at what and what things are looking at what. I can tell you, people, the most watched thing on our Facebook page so far was the dog park.
Oh, yeah?
I think it's had 3,000 something views of the dog park, and so it's just interesting to see what actually gets looked at. And so far, we have over 200 plus people on our site that are following it, so which is pretty good. You following, Eddie? No, I'm not gonna follow. You gotta follow. You should know these things. How do I get my email on here? Should be here, right?
Huh?
How do you get invited?
Oh, you just get right on it.
Then I click here. I gotta log him out. Mike's logged in. I gotta log in here. Don't look.
Your password is being displayed on.
Oh, God.
Done.
Just done. All right. So, Matthew Jennison did an Eagle Scout project for us down at the park over the last month. He was turning 18, so it was like shotgun thing. He's like,
Always the case.
it's always the case with these guys. But I just wanted to point out to the board, and we did put this on our Facebook page, and it got a lot of response. But Matthew, something that his brothers had done in the past too, so it's kind of tradition with his family building these park benches. And they built a whole bunch of them. How come I can't I should go back to a slideshow. You can see that they had their friends and family I believe he built 8 of them around the park. And, you know, he went around to different vendors, different people in the town, got donations. True Value donated a lot of the material. He actually had leftover money, and I believe, Alan, I think he's donating it to the Milton Hamlet Association. But I wanted to give a shout out thanks to Matt and his Eagle Scout project that he is helping our park get
Great
a little
job.
better. So he did a good job with them. And believe it or not, the first day he put them out there, people started shitting them right away. So they do get used.
Looks great.
Now, as far as the park, if you guys are okay, so we have a $10,000 park budget line, but we spent $2,000 on right here, right? So if you guys didn't see it, highway guys did a great job. I don't know if Charlie, you guys helped out with this too, right? So this thing, we had pipes sticking out of the ground, right? And it was a very hazardous drainage issue. This goes from Long Pond to Round Pond, right? The overflow.
Yep.
And they did a great job.
It's like 14, 15 feet deep.
Yeah, it's deep.
It's all rotted
If
around.
someone would have fell in there prior, it would not have been a good situation. But it's
Gail and his crew.
it's professionally done now. It looks good. It's probably got grass all around it now with all the rain we had. But there are some things. So we remember, I think about a couple years ago, we put this stuff around there.
Yep.
Well, it looks like the kids are wanting the fish, and they're ripping they're ripping it all off.
Looks like they might have kicked it in or something.
Kicked it in or smashed it in. So
We gotta replace
something like that, I want to replace. I'm going to get with, I think we should just have a meeting up there.
Yeah,
If you want, and go over it. But I just want to point out that's something we definitely should fix. It's inexpensive.
Sure.
And this is one spot here. I don't know if we could eventually get Gail or we want to bid it out, but this area here is always the mud spot, right? And this is where the walkway around the whole park ends. It just like ends into the middle. You got to get into this mud spot and then you start again. I want to recommend that we actually continue this and blacktop this. And you see this sign right here? That's our handicap parking sign in the middle of the grass.
Yeah.
So obviously that's not correct. So what I would suggest is maybe in that area, right here, maybe we should blacktop all this and actually make 3 handicap parking spots on, because that's the flattest part as you come down the hill. But right now we have a handicap sign that's fallen over and it's kind of like not doing anything. But so that's something we should probably look at doing. That's the area right
You
there.
gotta figure out where that water's gonna go. That's the
Yeah.
only thing, so.
Yeah, you got to pitch it.
You could put millings or something like that, or even 3/4 stone or some
Yeah,
stone.
you're still gonna have mud underneath that though, but I mean, if you're gonna prepare, I mean, the problem's the water, you just got to direct the water somewhere
Yeah, I'm sure.
into the pond.
So that's where this all comes off. Like there, it's all
Yeah, sure.
gets muddy and cracked here. And then down the hill, same thing. We got this whole side of the hill. It's all cracking off. This whole side of the hill is, this road actually should be a little wider
That's because people
because people drive down it. But also the water. Like
That's
Alan
where
just
that
said,
water's
coming down here, and this is the path of least resistance, and that's where it goes.
That's what's cracking the edge of the road, is the
Yeah.
water that's undermining the road.
So, again, more cracked. And then as you go through up the park, you see all these, I've gotten a couple complaints from people, I'm gonna trip and fall. They
Right.
actually walk this.
No, we should
So there's
take
just
care of that.
patches. Now, this is our septic tank. We gotta replace this cap. There's a big hole right in it. I don't know if there's snakes in there or whatever, but that's actually ours. That's the tank cap. That should be something simple to fix, right?
Charlie's better.
You can fix that, Charlie? So there's just some more ground. There's a tree that's like kind of fell over, got cut, and it's just sitting there. I was gonna talk to Dave to get rid of it. This is, this isn't actually, it's just moss all over it, but it actually is a okay storage. But I know how, we talked about this a couple times. The thing, I gotta talk to Dave about this. This is the walkway, and the rain is coming down, and it's just right into the walkway now. So you really can't get a lady's with her child, she can't really get it past her. The gravel's coming off this hill, and it's just coming right into the walkway. So that's got to get done. This is the wires, right,
Yeah.
that we're talking about?
Clothesline.
This has got to get pulled back, this whole thing. Up here also, this is where the water fountain's gonna go. We never finished off blacktopping this. I know Gail did this for us a couple years back, but we never finished off this spot, and it's just all deteriorated, and this is supposed to be the bicycle. So it's not inviting. You come into the park, this is the first thing you see,
You're right.
and it's really not inviting. This wall, I know I talked to Howard a few times about this.
It's a big project.
This right here, if we're not gonna fix the wall, we should put some kind of a fence here, because as you know, we had an incident where someone actually fell off right here. Well, they didn't get, whatever, they fell off. But it's a very steep drop right there. So if we're not gonna fix the wall, we should look into putting at least those pillars up,
Kind of barriers.
some kind of barrier of some kind. But right here, you can see how steep it is, and everything's washing down this hill. Again, the millings, we talked about the millings there, and this is just a walkway, like I said, that ends. I just wanted to point out, Dave did put the rocks up on top,
Yep.
so people can't drive down the side of the hill anymore. So he did do that. He's complaining about this fence, though. He's saying it's not big enough. Dave,
It's not wide enough,
not wide
because
enough,
he can't get his vehicles.
I guess. I don't know, it's as wide as the road, so.
Can
but
come the other way.
It's as wide as the road, so I don't know why it's not wide enough.
It's actually wider than
This one right here? Yeah, because when the gates close, you could get through it, right? Yeah, I talked to him about it. This one he did a good
Put
job.
another
This
rock.
one, we need one more rock maybe.
The only thing you do when you close that, then they can't get to, if the handicapped actually get down, they can't
Yeah, you
get
can't
down to
get there.
handicap parking.
Well, yeah, you're right.
That's true.
You're right. And then here, so we did the nice pavilion, we did this pavilion over, we put the nice shed here, and then we kind of just let this middle area go, and it's really, really, again,
I don't think
uninviting.
it should be grass, Scott, that's the
I
problem.
think it kind of pitches already. We should probably put like a drain pipe somehow, some kind of catch thing in the middle maybe, and then
Because the grass is only
blacktop
gonna,
it, pitch it or something.
because the grass is only gonna get worn out in between that spot.
It's just, I don't know, we gotta talk to Gail, I don't know, he would be best to know, but it kind of just looks really
Yeah.
crappy in here. And this is, of course, without drain, without anything, it's all coming off here. and
It'll
it's
be
just-
done.
I'm just pointing that out.
Great spot for pavers.
Pavers, something,
Nice project for an eating shop.
but you can see how it's like,
Pavers from the train station.
it could be much nicer there.
Yeah.
That's all I'm pointing out.
Yeah, finished.
And then up front, these old barrels,
get rid of them.
I think we just gotta get rid of, they're just becoming garbage collectors.
Yeah.
It's right in the front of the park. They just sit there, they're rotting away, and there's cigarette butts, and it's all it's becoming.
And while we're at it, we gotta paint those barrels
Yep,
Yeah,
the barrels.
green.
Yep. This one,
Then we should,
I think we might have to get rid of or relocate, but this is one of the Girl Scouts
right.
butterfly projects. The one on the other side's okay, but this one is again a dumping ground. You could see there's a sign in there, it's cracked in half, there's nothing growing in it. So either we gotta just take this one down, and leave the one, or I don't know what we gotta do. But
I would
what do you
say-
guys recommend? What do you wanna just
I would say take it down
take this one down?
and talk to Sheila and make sure
When did
she's
she put that up?
It's at 2014.
A few years ago.
Yeah,
2014, yeah.
right here. So the other one's in good shape. The other one actually has stuff growing out of it still, but this one is just becoming, again, a garbage
Whoever
collector.
did it, maybe they wanna refurbish it and fix it up, but it
We should
can't
get
can't
a
stay
hold
like
of
that.
it.
And it's like right in the front of the, right in the front of the park as you drive by, so. And then, of course, we have our information sign, but with no information.
We should get rid of.
And then we have this ugly
And get rid of that one.
Meet Me in Marlborough one, which is good. I mean, it's joke, but it's ugly as sin, right?
It's
So
ugly as sin, and it doesn't belong there. I'm sorry.
Howard mentioned that he in Marlborough wants to try to get some grant, maybe go for some grants, and this is something they were thinking of working on. I've been trying to help them just they had to get pre-qualified as they're a nonprofit through the grant portal, but you, so this might be one of the items.
Like an electronic sign?
okay. It'd be great if we get like an electronic sign here,
Yeah,
giving you good
Aren't they not in
information.
our code?
right.
Town board meeting tonight up the road.
Yeah.
No burning?
Wait, if you do electronic signs, can you do Wi-Fi? That's one of the things. How would you change, how do you change?
I don't know.
Probably like, you probably can do kind of Wi-Fi because like, you know, like, the water department has where you drive up and they, with a wireless computer and they take your meter reading and stuff like that. So I'm sure it's something similar to that could be done.
They got a lot of new stuff
I
out
mean,
there.
this right there, that, if we changed that, it made it nice. That's a huge change.
Yeah, it just,
That sign is very ugly, I'm sorry.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's why I'm, you know.
Yeah, I know, I know you agree. Preach
And then
to the
I don't know
choir.
if anybody knows what this is. Where's that picture? I thought I had it here. Well, right next to this barrel on the other side, I don't know where the picture went. There's a metal rod just sticking about 4 feet out of the ground. It looks like an electric, you know how when you would ground something?
Yeah.
It's just sticking straight out of the ground like someone's gonna run into it and kill themselves. It has nothing connected to it. I don't know what happened to the picture. What's that? I don't know. I was tempted to pull it out of the ground, but I thought it might have been electrical.
Where
I was like,
where is it? What's it?
it's right next to, like this
Oh,
area,
down there, out in the front.
like right around here. And I had a picture. I don't know what happened to it, but,
So would you suggest that the stuff that we know that Dave could help us with, we'll have a meeting with Dave?
Yep.
And then we'll have a separate meeting with Gail?
yep.
See how we.
Yeah, because if Gail can't do the blacktop, maybe it's something where we could actually bid some of this, you know, small patches out or stuff like that if he can't do it, but
But I think they could help with disposing these barrels.
getting rid of these barrels, I think we could just pick them up and chuck them.
Dave can help with that pole sticking out there.
And this stuff here,
Fix that wall.
Yes, he does.
yeah, Bill used to do it, yeah, I know, he's the one. I mean, this ain't that hard to fix, but it's just kind of like, I'm almost to the point where when I just rip it off right now, it just looks so bad.
Right. Well, we could ask Tom. Tom
That
and
was a
Bill
safety,
could-
that was a safety concern, right? People.
What?
It was a safety thing because
The simpler,
it's
Scott, the
possibly.
simpler fix for that would be to use the same stuff we used at the landing. You just encase it
Oh, yeah.
inside of some decking, some 1x6. Just put it in, you cut it to size, you put it behind, you staple it, and then put the 1x6 over and screw it. And that, it won't break. So it's small.
Yeah, that
it's-
doesn't work, that lattice.
No, because the kids are probably stepping on that, is what's going on.
They're trying to climb up
So
and they
it's
probably
breaking,
step
and-
on it and they're cracking it, right?
The mesh is small enough where you can't get a foot inside of it to step on it.
It's a good idea.
The same stuff we use at the landing. We might even have some left over.
All right, so we could look at that.
Or you can just buy a roll of it and cut it and put it on.
Somebody has a question now.
You have a hand up.
Al? Somebody has a comment.
You can climb through it.
Yeah, we're worried about kids falling through it.
Well,
Yeah,
kids were getting like hanging over the edge.
And stuff. And you can fit through, put it on the bike, just don't fit through.
Oh, here it is.
They're still gonna fit.
Here it is.
That's
And
what
they're
we're
really gonna
talking
climb
about.
it.
Good idea.
But then they're really gonna climb it if you put it in.
There's the rod. Does anybody know what this thing is?
We're going to, it's not a,
It's just sitting there,
Is it a bird feeder?
right next to the
it might have
picnic
been a
table.
bird feeder.
It's probably a birdhouse or a bird
Maybe.
feeder.
Did you guess Tom? Tom might know.
Not anymore.
I don't know. I was attempted to pull it out, but it's just sitting there. I don't know what it is.
Electrified, probably.
I thought it was electrical or something like that. I'm not touching that. But, all right, so we could have a meeting and then
Yeah.
Go
We'll
over
get Dave and then we'll get Mr. Appler to see what they suggest. I know
And,
Mr. Appler's pretty busy with the, well, he's gonna do the paving pretty soon, but he's busy, they're doing work down at the, train station park. Yeah, so we'll see what he has to do, what he has to say. He's got all those millings, we keep on talking about those millings. All right,
Go
thank
ahead,
you,
and
Scott,
I'm
thank
gonna
you very
bring this up
much.
While you're going, but go ahead.
Hmm?
Go ahead, I'll go to that and I'm gonna bring this up for the end.
What do you have?
I just wanna
Wanna
bring
show
up
the
the
Facebook page.
Facebook page for everybody.
All right, so could we put the resolutions up?
Yeah, in a minute.
Oh, you got the,
I got the thing now.
But you can pull them out of here.
you got the
I got it.
control.
Where are
We
we?
wanna get it up there. Okay, Andy, all right?
No problem.
Where's 47?
Go back.
Resolution 47.
Go back.
That's 53 to
47.
Why did that happen?
47.
I don't know, there's only three on there.
53 to 55 is a separate document.
I know, but there's only three on
So
there.
where's the other one?
Go to board
That was-
agenda,
Right here?
up top, agenda.
This one?
No, up top, above
Or it's
that.
in the agenda?
Yes.
First one is Resolution 47. Can I go? Okay, Resolution 47, to update audit process on voucher certification. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following. Be it resolved that the following list of payments are not required to go through the audit process with vendor sign certification. Utilities, gas, electric, water, sewer, phone, internet, health insurance, medical, vision, dental, bond payment, principal and interest payments, lease and or contract agreements, copiers, printers, web, time clock, mailing machine, credit account. This is all by our auditor, and this is what they suggested. It moves for adoption.
Councilman Corcoran.
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli.
Yes.
Councilman Koenig.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes, thank you. Resolution 48, to adopt minimum threshold value for fixed assets. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following, whereas the accountants stated that we needed to have a minimum threshold for fixed asset for departmental inventory control. Be resolved that the town board adopts a minimum value of $5,000 for assets to be tracked for departmental inventory control, and moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran.
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli.
Yes.
Councilman Koenig.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes, thank you. So this one is the Resolution 49 to enter in consent judgment. We talked about this with Mark Reynolds. It was Kenneth S. Tafoya. And the judgment, consent judgment is in front of us. We notice what the assessment value is now from what it was before, and moves for its adoption.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Councilman Corcoran.
Yes.
Councilman Koenig.
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is to authorize the project, contract number TM-191, Route 9W sewer extension for the town of Marlborough, to be publicly bid in accordance with the general municipal law, and that the precise bid date be established by the town supervisor in conjunction with the engineer. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following. Whereas the town board has previously approved the extension of a sanitary sewer service along Route 9W in the hamlet of Marlborough, and whereas the plans and specification for the extension have been prepared by Bernier and Larios, PC, professional engineers of Kingston, New York, and where plans and specifications for contract TM-191 Route 9W sewer extension are now completed, and whereas time is of the essence, therefore be it resolved that the town board of town of Marlborough authorize the project contract number TM-191 Route 9W sewer extension for the town of Marlborough to be publicly bid in accordance with the general municipal law, and that the precise bid date be established by the town supervisor in conjunction with the engineer. By order of the town board, town of Marlborough, this 13th day of May 2019. Of course, this is the first phase of the Route 9W corridor sewer. This is a $250,000 member item from our beloved Frank Scartatos, and moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran.
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli.
Yes.
Councilman Koenig.
Yes.
Councilman Baker. Baker,
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes.
We skipped resolution
You
50.
skipped one.
Did I skip one?
Well, I was like,
Skip 50.
I thought I was like,
No,
Oh, sorry about that.
Sounds like.
I got a question about this one real quick.
Okay.
You said we're not gonna have any plans back from Phil until next meeting, right?
Right.
So then why are we voting on this tonight? I know it's a start to $250,000, but we don't even know what the project's really gonna be.
Well, it was recommended by the committee that we get going on this 250,000, and in accordance with Phil Bell and the two councilmen that chair the program, plus the committee, they decide that according to what Phil Bell recommends to get going on this 250, that the preliminary application would be filled in conjunction with the two board members and myself. Not really myself, but the two board members and Phil Bell to put down what is worth $250,000 to get the agreement going with Sam or Dasney. So in that application, it also that you could also have soft costs. So the engineering cost would be approximately, I don't know how much money, but 8% or something of 650. So that's the mindset of the committee, if I got that right, gentlemen. Phil won't be ready for a month, and this application, just to get it going, when we get to fill it out, it's a resolution that we could show Dasney that the board's in favor of it.
so what, Alan, we're recommending that we start this process for exterior what do you call it? Renovation type work. Basically, the exterior, like the roof, maybe some landscaping, sidewalks, siding, things of that nature, things that are exteriorly have to be done almost regardless of what we do. So the recommendation by the committee was to move forward on that. Now, having said that, until we get the numbers back until we get everything back from Phil, just because we're putting this in doesn't mean we're actually utilizing it until we know what the numbers are.
It takes a year.
So it takes a year to start, so that's why it was recommended by the committee to move forward on at least putting this in and going forward. But again, we can't go forward until we get everything, Phil. I know what you're saying. But
Second of all, if we use the money from the late Frank Scriptatus, this now makes it basically a New York State community center as opposed to town of Marlborough, because this is going to be open to everybody.
This is a member item. It's not a grant from the start of the park.
Even if it's member item money.
No. A member item is the same thing as the sewer. It's a member item. Same as the sidewalks.
yeah, if it was a grant,
It was a
then it's
grant,
different
then it-
story.
Okay, Resolution 50, sorry, I skipped this. Authorize supervisor to submit state and municipal program preliminary application for Tomvac building. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following, whereas the state of New York, with the nomination by the late Assemblyman Frank Scartatos, has awarded the town of Marlborough a grant for $250,000 to be used for capital costs associated with the reconstruction of a community recreation center. And whereas the town has appointed a citizen committee and a town engineer to oversee the rehabilitation of that building, be it resolved that the town board authorize the supervisor to submit the necessary information requested in the preliminary application and moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran,
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli,
Yes.
Councilman Koenig,
I appreciate all the work the committee did and the two councilmen did, but I don't support the project, no.
Councilman Baker,
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes.
Now what number are we on?
Are we doing, I did 51.
Let's do the 52.
52.
Yeah, we're on 52.
We're on 52 now, right?
Yes.
Resolution 52 to authorize the supervisor to sign an intermissible agreement with the town of Lloyd for shared service, a board of assessment review. Before I read it, I appreciate Councilman Corcoran and Councilman Baker's response on this. I agree, we really don't need a lawyer to look over something that we did already a couple of times. Anyhow, Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following, whereas a need has existed for coverage for the parties' respective Board of Assessment review due to possible conflicts of interest when individual members of each board wish to file a grievance and appeal the respective assessment of their own property. Be it resolved that the Town Board of Town of Marlborough hereby authorizes the town supervisors to sign an intermissible agreement with the Town of Lloyd and moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran.
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli.
Yes.
Councilman Koenig.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes. Okay, moving right along. Resolution 53. It's quite a big, long resolution, so it's on our website. Basically, Resolution 52 is to exempt Tarpon Towers 2 LLC from local land use review and approvals under the Marlborough Town Code, including but limited to Chapter 152. It's quite lengthy, and our attorney did a great job on it. So, if there's any questions, I could go to each one of them, but if the board doesn't have any questions, we could go to the vote. None being said,
Supervisor Lanzetta.
that'd be me, yes.
Councilman Malinelli.
Yes.
Councilman Corcoran.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Councilman Koenig.
Yes.
And part two, what James was in talking about the short environmental assessment form, part two. I have that right here, and I'll be signing that. So, let me see. I know there's a whole bunch of these things. Could you bring up the other resolutions, please?
Which one?
Which one do you want? Before, right? Yeah, you go on your go on the homepage. Go to mobile, then they get agendas.
Oh, I see. I think so.
53 is on there.
This is the first one.
I'm helping you, right? This one out? No, right down there, it says 53 through 55.
Yeah, it goes, you'll get 55
click
on
on
that
that.
too.
That is-
Okay.
next.
So I just did 53.
Somebody take note that I helped them with the 53?
Yeah, nice. This is the first.
Our new IT guy.
Yeah, I know you hung
You're
around.
hired.
Okay. Okay. So, 54 is the negative declaration. And it's quite lengthy, but basically it says that it's as a Form 2, there's no adverse impact, and moves for its adoption.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli.
Yes.
Councilman Corcoran.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Councilman Koenig.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So resolution 55. The first resolution was because of the Monroe Doctrine that the town board, as long as it's, it was a lengthy resolution, but it basically explains how the town could be the lead agency. And so this project didn't go through the planning board, but it went through the town board. We're lead agency. It went through the proper channels with the lawyer and engineer. They did all the work required for the tower. So that was the first resolution. The second resolution was on the environmental impact statement. And now the third resolution, 55, is actual for the supervisor to sign the agreement with Tarpon Towers. And I would say it moves for adoption.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli.
Yes.
Councilman Corcoran.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Councilman Koenig.
Yes.
Thank you. Got that up?
Oh,
Facebook?
I think so. Maybe. Oh, no, So this is our Town of Marlborough website. Facebook, I should say. It actually has a link to our website, which has been good too, because a lot of people like to link off their phones. So right here, we have it right on here. We have the resolutions. We have our agenda, the different posts. You know, we had the police. That got a pretty good response too, actually. The police guys got a lot of them.
That was a good event, Chief. Thank you. Thanks for inviting us.
But as you can see here, 226 people follow the page already. We reached 1,982 people through posts this week. So it's got all our information, just like our website would have. I just wanted to bring it out that we have this site. I mean, there's a lot of good information in here, but I don't, it's for another time. But it's just that we have we've been getting a lot of follows, which is good.
So, go to our Facebook, check it out. And then there's always links to our website, which has enormous information, so that you don't have to come and down to the town hall to get different forms. They're all there, the building forms, everything's there. And if you have any questions, you always could call Colleen Corcoran at the clerk's office.
Absolutely. Extension 4.
We're here to serve you.
So here's the ones where it shows you how many posts, or how many.
Where do you see that?
What does Al have to say?
So the one that you put the other day, that rented the train station, got 1,300 people look at it already.
That's about how many phone calls we got today.
614.
That's about how many phone calls you got as a
So
result.
Colleen's gonna get a lot of calls.
Well, that's good.
3,000 people looked at, did you know about the dog park?
How come I can't pick that up?
So it's just pretty cool how you could see what really gets looked at. So people like dogs and people like the train station, I guess, the most in the police. Yeah, the police got 356 people look at it, so just pretty cool.
I think it's very cool. Yes, Mick. There's 3 people. We got to keep them, their names unidentified. You know, we can't tell you who they are. One sitting to the right of me, one sitting right here, and Tina Rosa, basically.
Yep.
Danielle Cherubini does our website.
Does a website.
Yep. So
Thank you.
anyway, tell people, like our Facebook. It comes right on your phone. You get all the information. It's pretty easy. All right. Alan.
Oh, you want a motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Second? All in favor? Oh, thank you.
No, it's this.